KB experiment.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It is King Borris from the KB Experiment. Thanks for joining us again today. I appreciate you guys. We have a special guest today. Well, every guest is special, so I want to introduce Ryan Weaver.
Hey, what's going on, brother? I can't thank you enough for bringing me on.
Oh, I appreciate you for taking the time to be on. We're going to talk about an amazing cause, but I want to talk about you first because you are important.
Well, I guess that's left up to perspective, but
well, you, as long as you don't harm people, you're important to someone. That's how I look at it.
Right on.
So tell me about yourself, man.
Well, I don't know where to start. We can, I guess, I spent 21 years on active duty with the Army, was a military intelligence analyst, and then transitioned over to become a warrant officer and flying Black Hawks. Went to combat in Iraq in 2003. My brother and I were deployed over there. He was with the 82nd Airborne, and I was with the 1st Armored Division. He was flying Kiowa Warriors, which the Army doesn't have anymore, and I was flying Black Hawks. And he was actually a cancer survivor, was non-deployable. He got a waiver to be deployed and had to get bi-monthly blood screenings done to make sure that the cancer hadn't come back. And he was a all-American superhero. His name was Aaron. He was in the actual ambush in Mogadishu for that movie Black Hawk Down was made after. He was one of the Rangers in that on the ground. Survived cancer. It was a pretty the kind of cancer he had was really rare, so you needed to make sure that they tracked it. And well, he was deployed and was flying to one of those blood screenings in the back of a medevac helicopter, and it was shot down, killed everybody on board.
Oh my Lord.
And I was actually redeployed back from Iraq to his funeral. And before I actually was restationed to Germany from Fort Rucker in flight school, I was doing singing competitions and karaoke competitions to help pay my bills, and I loved it.
Okay.
Found out it was something that I really loved to do. And when I was over in Iraq, I started writing. And when Aaron died, it was kind of one of those moments one of those moments in my life that I said, I'm sitting here letting my life pass me by. And I mean, I love being able to say that I was an aviator and fly. My oldest brother, Steve, was also an aviator. He flew Kiowas as well. And I followed in their footsteps, but I really, when Aaron died, I had followed in his footsteps for so long. It was kind of, my time to start creating my own path in a completely different direction. And I love singing, I love writing, I love performing, and I just started going after it in his honor and chasing this dream of country music. And I was free stationed at Fort Rucker in Alabama to be a TAC officer, warrant officer candidate school, which essentially trains future officers to be a technical specialist in the military or become an aviator. And was an instructor for there. And fortunately, being stationed there, it gave me enough time to tour on the weekends. And I started touring the club and festival scene and fair scene and opening for national acts within the first year and a half as an artist, and was traveling back and forth to Nashville almost every other weekend and networking up in Nashville. And then when I was done with the military, I retired in 2012 with that 21 years or almost, and moved up to Nashville full time as a civilian and completely transitioned out of the military into the civilian world. And fortunately have a military retirement check because that saved my music career when I got up to Nashville.
Right. I mean, you worked for it,
Yeah, but I got up to Nashville and I had 2 part-time jobs and was going to college full-time to finish my degree in aeronautics with a minor in management, and was happy to be able to get my education out of the way. But, the jobs were temporary to kind of start getting myself on my feet for getting back into the music. Took a little bit to transition out, but released my first music video. And actually, my brother-in-law, I'm going to go back again, my brother-in-law, Randy Billings, was flying in Afghanistan in 2013. And the ground exploded improvised explosive device blew the tail boom off his Black Hawk and ended up killing everybody on board but a passenger that was in the back. And we became a 2-time Gold Star family at that point. fueled my fire to want to be even more successful. I mean, to take those losses, and I mean, they were willing to give everything that they had so that I could freely chase my dreams in these beautiful United States of ours, and it just added more fuel to the fire. So released my first music video in 2014, and then 2015, performed on the Ryman Auditorium stage, Bridgestone Arena, and then the Grand Ole Opry stage in 2015. And released my second music video, Burn, with Chris Peranto and John Tigan from 13 Hours, two of the Benghazi heroes that had survived the attack in Benghazi. So, and there's so much more to it that, I mean,
right. It's go forever.
Yeah, it's a long story, but I mean, I think what it really all culminated into after working from 2006 to that time was I got discovered by the Professional Bull Riders doing a veterans nonprofit event concert opening for Dokken, Warrant, and Great White. As a country music artist, a bunch of 80s rock bands, you know. But and then Steven Tyler from Aerosmith was the headliner at the PBR Professional Bull Riders World Finals in 2016, and they made me the headliner at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas in 2017. And my first show in 2018 was Madison Square Garden, and I performed at every major arena across the nation.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's a dream.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've been able to live the American dream and work my tail off to get where I am. Never had a record deal, a formal record deal with a record label. Never had management, the formal management that really helped me advance my career. It's all through, you know, hard work and dedication, going after the dream and just hustling, man. I mean,
that's what it's about. I mean, number one, thank you for your service, and thanks, I always like to thank my veterans because I hold you guys to a high standard. It's not an easy life, especially when you lose family, and you know, you're putting yourself out there for us. So I see that, I appreciate it, and thank you.
I appreciate that, man.
And sorry for your losses. I know that's a lot of people. And what's good about your story is that you took that, that pain, because it's always pain, and turned into something positive. A lot of us don't know how to do that. We let that pain take over us, and we live a negative life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You just kept bulling on, and there's no excuses. You say, I got to make this. Make it happen. I mean, there's no other way around it, and that's something to look at and really learn from, which is one of the reasons I like to talk to you about this. Is I want my listeners to know that you don't have to just sit there and feel the pain and let it consume you. It's energy. You could turn it into something, and I mean, you made a whole career out of it. I mean, if you're good, you're good. You can sing, we're gonna listen, but to hit Madison Square Garden, that's like the main, check right there. I did Madison Garden.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people talk about. And as you listen to many careers, they always talk about when I get to Madison Square Garden, then they do it, and they say, okay, that's a next step of, I guess whatever your career is. But congratulations on that. It's amazing.
I appreciate it. I mean, some of the incredible performances get into, AT&T Stadium where the Dallas Cowboys play. We were in front of 40,000 people there. And I mean, there's so many, so many different, I always said in interviews and podcasts and radio, and everybody kept asking me, what's your goal in country music? What do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to be in sold out arenas with people singing my songs. And essentially when it was a sold out T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, and I got up there and taught the audience the chorus to my song before I even did it, and willed that dream into place in one performance. And we did it in every arena across the nation. I mean, from Golden One Center all the way, I mean, every major arena you can think of, I was able to perform in 2018. And they sent me to Australia last year, and got to do three events in Australia last year as well. And we were planning on doing a whole bunch more, but then COVID hit, obviously, and shut everything.
Right. So, how's the Australia scene when it comes to country music?
Oh man, I mean, I will tell you, Australians, first off, know how to party. They know how to have a good time. they know how to drink. They know how to have fun. But they love Americans, and they love everybody, and they're just pleasant, fun, good-hearted people. And the professional bull rider community, the Western sports community is there's a lot of farming out there. There's a lot of, I mean, you name it. So I will tell you that I was received just as well in Australia as I was. And as an American artist going over there, there's a little bit of a nostalgia to it as well for Australians. And it was, I mean, it was so much fun. I mean, they treated us like royalty. It was great to get to travel and see the different parts of the country. And then we actually took in between shows, a break and went over to New Zealand for a little bit and spent some time in New Zealand, which was a beautiful country as well. But just the Australian people are they're kind, they're fun, they're open, and you never have to worry about where you stand with them. They're honest, good people.
If they don't like you, they'll tell you.
Oh yeah.
Especially when they're drunk.
And they'll tell you to fuck off too. They don't have.
Oh man, there you go. Well, I asked because I talked to a lot of different artists in the music world, and they tell me that a lot of they hold a big fan base outside of the United States, and that outside of the United States, your fan base is a little loyal, differently than it is here. Whether they know the language or not, whether it's Wu-Tang Clan or country music, they're loyal to it. They like it. They're going to support it, and which is a little different. Not that we don't get support here, but they're very supportive. Just like you said, they're very open. If they don't like you, get out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
one
cool.
of the best things about my music video, Burn, that I did with Chris and John, that music video was actually spun more in New Zealand once it first got started than most other countries. And they had one of their main DJs over there was spinning the song. And when I got to Australia, I was surprised at the number of people who knew who I was when I got there. And it was just really cool. It was a great experience.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, and a lot of people don't realize it, that there's such a huge market in the world, not just here. Look at David Hasselhoff. He's famous in the UK, and he's Baywatch here. Different worlds, but he's like a legend over there. He goes over there, everybody passes out. But I was just watching a documentary on the I think it was the Backstreet Boys, and how they ended up breaking through. You see, the Backstreet Boys are in sync either way, but they actually started in Europe and then became huge there and became even bigger after that, and coming back over here because they were having. I think it was in sync.
Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, they started off trying to get a footing. I think the Backstreet Boys were already out, and then NSYNC came out, and then they weren't getting as much footing. But quite honestly, as far as I'm concerned, is if my message is getting out there to anyone, I love having fans everywhere across the world. It really doesn't. I'm not particular about anybody. If they like my music, I love having that everybody likes my music, and try and have that positive message and showing about, talking about overcoming obstacles and standing up for what you believe in and fighting for your dreams. That's really what it's all about, man.
Oh, for sure. Spreading positivity and then seeing that positivity come to light is a gift in itself. And I want to point out one thing you said earlier. You said that you willed it into place. You pretty much said this is going to happen. So you eliminate the doubt, and that's a mindset people, again, don't understand. It's available. You can will certain things, just like you can will positive things, you can will negative things into your life. So sometimes you don't know the power of that, and you're using it against yourself. And, but that's a learning curve. But when you said that, I'm like, yeah, that's perfect, because the proof's in the pudding. You did everything that you said you would, and you're continuing to. I think you, last year you did Arrival, and was a time like this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those were.
2019. Yep.
Yeah, those were the two newest. I think we did He's Still Your President or whatever, but that was the one that I think was our newest one for this year. But Arrival and Time Like This or more. I would say we started transitioning my sound a little bit with those songs. We went from more of an 80s rock influence to more of a multi-genre feel with those.
Okay.
I mean, because we added in some dubstep and some, I like to call it swamp country, and some 80s rock, soaring guitars. They're great workout songs, and I recorded them actually specifically because of the way I was seeing the PBR was using music during their events. I wanted to get some arena anthemic kind of songs out there.
Right, makes sense.
And just we were trying to market towards all sports out there. Football teams coming on a football field, hockey teams coming out, you name it, anything like that where, this is our arrival.
It's relatable.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. So something motivational and workout. I like the tempo stuff during my shows, the high energy, rockin', slamming shows is what I love to do, which is why I fit in with the 80s rock. I mean, so we wanted to come out with some kind of, with the energy like that. And I guess this is a great time, since you just talked about those singles, to transition to the project that we've got going on. Sounds like
you're right back.
All right. So I get people from time to time asking me how I record my podcast. And I tell them it's simple. I do it on my phone, and I have a plug-in speaker. All I need is a quiet space and my phone. And it's free. They have all kinds of tools to help you do it, to edit, to cut, to ad-lib, whatever it is that you want. And once it's ready and you upload, Anchor has you all set up where you post it or upload the audio once, or the episode, and it'll distribute it across other platforms like Spotify or podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And I mean, it does it all for you, which is pretty neat, because sitting there trying to upload stuff forever takes forever. And you can make some money. So there's sponsorships, no minimum listenership. I mean, it's pretty darn easy. It's everything you need to make a podcast in your pocket. So go download the free Anchor app and go hit anchor.fm and get your podcast started.
We're back.
Gotcha.
So we started talking about this project. Tell us about the project.
Well, I want to give you a little bit of a background, because one of the things that I like people to know, I like them to know, obviously talking about me and you guys, all your listeners, let them get to know who I am as a person, and where the kind of things that I stand for, and just what I believe in, and taking care of our fellow man. I think that it was extremely important for us to do something with my next music video that was going to step up the game from Burn, because if anybody gets to watch Burn, when you get Paramount's authorization to use the trailer clips from a multi-million-dollar film, wow. You get 2 Benghazi Heroes in there. I co-wrote the song. We raised a pretty decent amount of money to get a great professional video that could compete with any video that's out there in the market. It was going from that to my next project. It needed to be something bigger. It needed to be something more spectacular. So we brought in another Benghazi hero, Dave Boone Benton. So if anybody out there has seen the movie 13 Hour Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, he says all the gods, all the heavens, all the earths are within you. He was, when Chris Peranto was doing his flashlight dance, he was reading all that. Anyway, so that was Boone. And I became friends with Dave Benton through a motorcycle club down in Florida, the Shadow Warrior Riders Motorcycle Club. But we became friends, and essentially Arrival it needs a video. It's a song that needs a video. And that's how I focused really my music career. I haven't focused on albums, because you're spending a lot of money on music that likely people aren't going to download or buy. I've been focusing on singles and putting music videos out there, so I have multiple media platforms to be able to promote the song on. So I knew on this one we needed to be able to do that. So initially it was just going to be the project was going to be a music video for Arrival, and I was going to have the 3 Benghazi guys, Chris and John, were going to come back on board, working with Dave Benton again, so that would amp it up just a little bit. And we were going to be the initial idea was to take down, maybe a drug cartel or something like that, just to have this cool action film similar to Burn. And then I talked to the executive producer, TJ Kurgan. He works with Danger Close Media Group. owns a company called Tactical Shit for tactical stuff.
Perfect name.
Yeah, and he said, Ryan, this human trafficking thing, I don't know if you've been following, and you're going to start seeing a lot more headlines, because he was in the know with several folks that were involved in the world, and it was starting to gain a lot more traction. The subject matter was starting to gain a lot more traction. He said, if you really want to do something that's going to be relevant, even more relevant, and not just be a Hollywood, kind of thing,
right,
you got to look into the human trafficking problems that we've got in the U.S. And I said, okay, cool. So I started doing a whole bunch of research on it and looking at all the numbers, and my mind was blown.
Yeah.
How billions of dollars were going into this, and how many kids were being trafficked a year, and the
billions.
Oh, it's insane amount of money, and just it's actually overtaking drugs. It's crazy to think that human beings in the United States are being trafficked at a higher price than drugs are out there, and it's all being done, obviously, in the dark shadows that
you can't see it.
Nobody wants to talk about it. I mean,
a lot of people are involved with it,
right?
Yeah. And that's and to add to all that, when a single person tries to come into this category and address it, history shows that it doesn't end well for them.
Yeah.
But right now in today's climate, I see a lot more people putting out information like, it'd be nice if you did this on trafficking, like you do that. You take that down as quick as, let's get some work going on in here, because we have issues in that field, and people don't. Now they're addressing it. So I think as a collective, it's safer, if that makes sense.
Oh,
because it is a dangerous. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, when you look at the history of it, it's sick. I mean, Epstein, that's all you got to say. Everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's nothing compared to the whole scope and how long it's been going on. And
absolutely.
It touches every single part of humanity. It doesn't matter whether it's the church, whether it's sports. I mean, everywhere. One way or another, you find out that something is happening behind the scenes, and then you're like, how the hell didn't I see that?
Right.
And that's scary.
Well, I think that one of the things that, as I started doing the research and finding out who, the primary targets and, the primary demographics and age groups that are, and no demographic is immune to this. It's not there are parts of society that are targeted more, but it doesn't matter whether it's a wealthy neighborhood or it's a downtrodden neighborhood or whatever. It doesn't matter. The races, you name it. It's hitting everyone. And because of the dark web and the society that's out there now, and the access that kids have to online platforms where adults are coming in, that don't have good intentions. It's really. And I'm not trying to fearmonger on any. There's a reality that's out there.
No, that's true.
That needs to be.
I co-signed it.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely. But so essentially what we ended up doing after talking about that, the initial conversation, doing some research, I said, there's just no way that a music video alone is going to be able to relay the message that needs to be relayed about this. So then we turned it into a short film public service announcement with a collateral music video to support. So we'll have two different projects. And essentially what we'll really do is just, if folks watch my Burn music video, there's the storyline that are the A-roll stuff, and then the performance B-roll stuff is there. We have the storyline going on. So we'll have that 15-minute short film public service announcement that we're going to give for free to every human trafficking organization in the United States to use as they want to, with a free licensing agreement, that all they got to do is put their own public service announcement on the backside, because there's so many organizations that really just don't have the funding and the ability to have that marketing tool to be able to put out there. And we're going to have this, just solid cast of people that can help promote it, get it out, the message out as much as possible, that are legitimately already involved in the human trafficking and pedophile busting world. And So we decided that we were going to go with a 15-minute short film public service announcement with a collateral music video where we'll take some of the film and just do some performance stuff in the music video. But now the music video is not the primary project. It's the short film public service announcement. A couple of things that I wanted to make sure that everybody knows when we're talking about it. We are not funneling the funding through any nonprofit organizations on this one. And that has been kind of a double-edged sword in a lot of circumstances, but I'm starting to hear from folks that they would actually prefer it that way, because then they don't have to vet the nonprofit organization and be concerned about whether the money's going in the right place and that kind of stuff. We have a bank account set aside specifically for the film. We have a Venmo set up specifically, or it's actually my LLC Venmo, but it goes straight to that bank account. Every single penny is going to be going to it. But I would like to talk about the cast members that are involved in this. You now, so I would like to say that we now have King Borris on board, the cast member, to help support this film. I'm excited about that.
Yes, I'm a huge supporter, and it's a pleasure to be part of it. I personally, through the years, have researched this on my own, and I've found ways to at least do my part and report what I see and find. Because it's a scary thing to even report it because it's all illegal. Right. At the same time, I can't sit here. I have 3 children and, just not do anything. It's as you dive into it, it's the less sleep you get at night. We don't sleep. Because it keeps you up. So, I'm definitely happy to be a part of it, and you're going to see me in there soon. When everything comes together.
That's good. It's good that we need to get major voices like yours that can get this out there and talk about it, and so that we can. The biggest thing is we can't do it with air. We need funding, and to be able to use aviation assets and armor assets and airboats and just multiple shooting locations and the logistics of getting the entire cast down to. We're going to be shooting in Florida in the spring of 2021, but to get them down there, to get them housed in hotels, it's just a big
cost money. Yeah,
it's a big process. So, and we need Americans. We need anybody support out there that wants to be part, to support the project, to help us out with it. But some of the cast members that we've got, I mentioned the 3 Benghazi guys: John Tig Tigan, Chris Tonto, Peranto, Dave Boone Benton. If your folks out there haven't seen 13-Hour Secret Soldiers of Benghazi, the movie is based off of a book that was written by Mark Oz Geist, and Chris Tigan, and then John Tigan and Chris Peranto. But so we've got them. We've got Craig Sawman Sawyer. He's a former Navy SEAL that has got a show called Contraland that's out there right now. Yeah, busting pedophiles. On that one, he's been actively involved with Vets for Child Rescue and the human trafficking fight. And then we brought on JP Cervantes, who's a former special operations guy. He actually is involved in the human trafficking world, professional shooter and tactician. Then came on board. We came on board with Diana Muller. She's an amazing person, super passionate about this, professional shooter and also a tactical expert. And then Corinne Mosier came on board as well. We got them on board about the same time. And then Scott Campbell, who's a former federal law enforcement officer, worked with federal law enforcement. He came on board, very good friend of mine out of Texas. And then we started at that point, once I had a solid cast built, of tactical experts, shooting experts, former law enforcement, putting all those folks together. We had a good solid cast of genuine people that want to be involved. This is where I really had to start pulling in some names to be able to get some recognition for the project. And so I asked Brandon Tatum, Officer Tatum, if you guys are following him out there, I asked him to come on board. He's former law enforcement, got a great social media following to help us push the project. And Chad Prather, the political cowboy out of Texas, he and I co-wrote Still Your President together and brought him on board. He's got a huge social media following as well. Brought him on board as part of the cast. And then our latest announcement, other than you were actually our latest announcement. Chuck Liddell, UFC World Champion Chuck Liddell, follows me on Instagram. He comments on my page.
That's awesome. I saw that. I actually saw how it came about, and
it's really interesting because he actually answers his Instagram. I shot him a message and I said, hey, I just reached out and said, hey, dude, I want to know, I'm a huge fan of yours, but I've got this project that I'm working on, and I need to get some superstar badasses with big names to get involved in the project, because once you start getting names into the project, then their fans start becoming interested, and then their companies that are involved with those individuals start becoming interested, and
traction.
It gets some traction, and we start getting it out there. You know how it is. It's a marketing thing. You got to be able to market it to be able to get it funded. And then so Chuck came on board, and I was super excited about that, simply because he sent me a message and said that his wife had forwarded him a link about a human trafficking ring that had been busted around where they were at, and he said it made him sick to his stomach. And he wanted to, he really wanted to get involved. And, my hopes are that we can get some other names like his, some world champions, and some other folks involved in this that really want to, like yours, but folks that are out there with the ability to get the message out so that we can get this thing funded and underway.
Especially try to find a young person that has a huge influence, because trafficking doesn't just affect children, it affects adults as well. But it seems like it's much easier to human traffic children, and as they grow up they're still part of that system. So I think ultimately they start as children, they become adults, but they're and if we get that voice out to that young community, which is the most vulnerable, that'll be huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that we got Chris Martini, who's, if anybody knows Max Martini, he's been on several movies and shows. Sergeant Will Garner, The Unit. He was in 13 Hours as Oz. Chris Martini is his brother. He has some actresses. There's an actress out of Canada that we may be using as the lead. But getting, folks that are, to be able to say, for instance, get an Ashton Kutcher who deals human trafficking, to get a name like his involved in it or something. I've reached out to his organization. I've reached out to him, and because you never know. I just, of course. I wouldn't have ever expected Chuck Liddell to answer my message back. I've got 35,000 followers on my Instagram page. Who am I? But yeah, he messaged me back, and I'm not afraid to ask anybody, because this is a project that should be. It needs to be done. The message should be out there. We've got a great script written for it, and we're actually not just trying to make it a short film. We would like it to be a feature film, or a series, or whatever it may be, Netflix series, and
turn into something big.
Yeah, I don't
need to hear it. They need to see it. That's just what it is.
Well, I don't ever shoot for just a 50-meter target, what's right in front of me. I always try and shoot for, as far as I could possibly go with something. Right. And I've lived my life that way. My hopes are that we can create an amazing product, an amazing film that inspires people, that if anything gets someone to, one person at a time, it reaches them and lets them know that they can get out of the situation that they're in, or that if there's a possibility of it even happening, that they recognize that that's what's going on, and they don't get involved in it, or they talk to authorities, whatever it may be, for us to be able to get it out there.
Bringing it up and letting people understand that it's happening right by you is awareness. So step one, awareness. Once people start to open their eyes and they go, wait a minute, what's going on here? That's step one, that puts the person who's doing the trafficking in danger. He's gonna, or she's gonna say, oh man, they're onto us. You can't operate that way forever and think nothing's gonna happen, because it's coming out now, especially with the internet. It's just so people know, there's literally literature out there for people to learn how to groom children. Oh yeah, your children. You could buy books. They used to be on Amazon. I'm not going to name them, but to think that there's actually literature, there's a formula that you can learn to do this is just, if you don't even know that, how are you going to protect your kids and yourself from that?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's why the awareness is important. You have to realize that there are some people out there that want to do harm. And I tell my kids as they live a good life and they're humble, and I tell them, look, you got to be careful because there's some bad people out there. I know we live nice and calm, but a lot of people don't live that way, and a lot of people are, they'll take advantage of you. So I can't shield them from that. It hurts to say it because I don't want to put that fear in their mind, but I rather that than have to tell a story of how my child was, whatever, because it can happen in many different ways. People don't even have an idea of like, how did that even happen? You'd be surprised when you start looking at the stories and reading them. I say my face falls off because I don't know what to say. I'm floored.
Yeah, there's so many different techniques in the way that with such ease of access to internet and these different social sites and different games, and the chat rooms in these games. It's just, I don't know the best way of saying it. The options are limitless against, in favor of the people doing this. It's limitless, and it's unfortunate. But having said that, my hopes are with this project and the number of people and the type of people that are involved in it, that we can create something that, if for 15 minutes a kid, or a parent or whoever it is watches this and says, I remember seeing that. This was, I can't believe wait a second, I'm watching my teenager do what they're doing right now. And I don't know if they know that that's what's going on, but we need to talk about it, just whatever we can do in that positive side of it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome, man. And that's why I said when I heard about this and I had the chance to jump in, I'm like, say less, I'm here. Because to fight for other humans, that's what we should be doing in every aspect. So
the most vulnerable. That's I think,
of course,
as good as patriots and people that care about other human beings. We want to stand up and support those that are the most vulnerable, and that's who they're targeting. So.
Yeah, the people are not going to be able to ignore this anymore. It's done. It's now coming to light. Yeah, I'm just waiting for that big moment where it explodes, where we finally find out, the truth. Like we really see, like, I can't believe it was this big, when they start talking about it and people start getting arrested and going to jail, because the dark web, it's easy to hide in the dark web. Mm-hmm. You know how it works. That's what it's designed to do, is to hide you. But with so many people being active looking for these, servers or whatever you want to call it, it's at some point I hope that it gets to the point where it's so hard. I don't think it'll ever go away, sadly, but to reduce it to as little as possible is the goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But so what do you need right now? I know you're getting a lot of support and a lot of help, but what is it that you would like? What else do you need to help you push forward?
Well, I will tell you that you would be extremely. Actually, you and I talked about this or chatted back and forth about it, but this has been like wading through wet concrete, waist deep concrete, to try and get this thing funded. I got burned. The music video that we did, just the music video, I got that funded in a few months, and we've been doing this since October last year. And obviously, COVID kind of put a little bit of a damper on things, but just getting corporate sponsorships, product placement sponsorships for folks that want to get involved. Is that on my end or yours?
What? I'm not hearing anything.
Oh, it was. It sounded like there was an air conditioning or something. I don't know if it was on my end or not, but. Oh,
okay. No, I'm good.
Cool.
All right.
But as I was saying, the corporate product placement sponsorships, for firearms, we're going to need all that stuff. We're going to need, but all of those are, sponsorships are going to cover the cost. But the bottom line for us now, just to let everybody know, like I said, we have a Venmo set up for contributions of any level that they want. If anybody wants to contribute, it's Weaver Country is the Venmo site. My Venmo link. But we also have a slide deck that I could get sent out for sponsorships at all different levels, presenting sponsors, production sponsors, you name it. Okay. Getting those sponsors on board. We have VIP sponsorships. So if anybody wants to hang out with all of us for a few days on set and see it all go down, the chances of someone ever getting to do that in their life, to be on a movie set while it's filming as a VIP, taken care of, treated, we wait on you hand and foot, make sure that you're having an amazing time. You get to hang out with all of the people that are, the actors and actresses doing their thing, just getting to see it become, a project. We have those available. If someone wants to be an extra cast member and on the teams, one of the teams with the guys, or just extra cast members, we're going to need human trafficking victims, those kind of things. If folks want to have, their children involved to help out with, with the message, because we do have some of like, dude, if you want to bring your kids and make them part of the film, we would love, obviously, the primary actors and supporting actors that we have on there already. John Tigan wants to bring his kids. We've got other folks that want to bring their kids and be involved in it. And they can be, like you said, it's all ages. So we may have 18, 20-year-olds, but we're also going to have smaller children, because we're going to do a couple different rescues during this. But so we'll have a lot of opportunities for VIP extra cast, but we are asking for folks, if they want to be in the film, that we can get an extra cast sponsorship for them, and essentially they're supporting the film and they're going to have a role. And some people will say, well, don't you normally pay actors and actresses to do that kind of stuff? I mean, we're giving this film away for free, and we're asking people to come and support the cause, and all of the money is going straight to it. And I'm sure you do the same thing as I do. I go to so many nonprofit events, and I do speaking. I do the emceeing, I do keynote speaking, and I help organizations raise money all the time. And I see people spending stupid amounts of money on things that just, you're like, holy cow. And, to be able to, it's sad. But I mean, to be able to sponsor something like this and actually be in a film as part of the team, get to hang out with everybody, be on set, do this, we're going to be, like I said, flying in aviation, doing armor, airboats, different stuff like that, just getting to do some really cool stuff with all these amazing heroes. It's an opportunity, I think, a once in a lifetime opportunity for a lot of folks that if they've always dreamed of doing something like this. And you also know that your money, your support, your sponsorship is going towards an amazing cause. But you're going to have that as a legacy, something that you can have for the rest of your life, to be able to say, hey, check this out, I was in a film. But also, we support an amazing cause, and it was given to every human trafficking organization in the U.S. So we have those. And then we also have, like I said, presenting sponsors and corporate product placement sponsors for different things that we're going to have in the film. Those are all invaluable. That's how I funded Burn, with some corporate product placement sponsorships, but also just contributions. We are working on an Indiegogo campaign. I already had one that we did right before COVID hit, and once COVID hit, it pretty much shut it down. But we only, no joke, we are sitting right now just over $8,000 in the bank, and to get this thing off the ground, we need $150,000 just to get it off the ground. And I posted something on my Facebook page the other day, and I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent here, but I think that you'll appreciate what I'm going to say. I posted something on my Facebook page the other day. I got a notification on Indiegogo. There is a non-stick frying pan that is on Indiegogo, a non-stick frying pan. There aren't a million of those out there right now, but there's a non-stick frying pan that has raised $150,000 for a frying pan. And I've got $8,000 on a human trafficking film with 3 Benghazi Heroes, a UFC World Champion. Now, you, Brandon Tatum, Chad Prather, and I'm just thinking to myself, I've got $8,000 for that, and they've got $150,000 for a nonstick frying pan.
It's sad. I mean, it the way I think is, it tells you something that if it's this hard to fund a project like this, then how many people are involved in it?
I know.
that don't want it funded. And it's you know, I think of the worst sometimes, and it's like, I mean, I don't understand how it should be easy. I mean, who doesn't want to take care of kids?
Right.
But you can't find the money, and then as you watch the news, you know, little by little, you start seeing certain people pop up. You're like, wait a minute. And I tell everybody, go do some research. There is a lot of information about this in many different facets of society that you can listen to, watch, and it's a fact. So it's not like we're making anything up. This shit is real.
Yeah.
But to not be able to get the money, I mean, that to me is a huge red flag. Like, who's really out there that's, you know, the powers that be that are holding that back? Because I just don't see it any other way. Like, why would people just say, oh, I'd rather go, you know, fund the pan? That's more important.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it.
Like we need another nonstick frying pan out there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, I don't want to like to hate on people and companies. It is what it is. But just to look at the scope of it, it's like, you know, pan, human trafficking. I like a pan. Like, that's, you know, like it can't be like that. That can't be the reality. So,
right.
You know, I default to somebody's holding this back. But again, as a collective, as more people get behind it and it gets more inertia, you can only hold it back for so long. It's going to happen. So
right.
All you guys out there that are doing all wrong, we're coming. This shit is going to be over and you're going to get hurt. I mean, yeah. It's just what it is. We will not tolerate this type of behavior anymore. You know, can't do it.
Absolutely, man. And I can't thank you enough for getting involved in the project. I know that your voice is going to help us get this out there. And, you know, the one thing that I've learned, and it's the same thing that I've said before every show, my band and I, we get in what's called the Weaver Country Huddle. And my boy Trey, he says he does a prayer for us. And then I tell him every single time, this is the last show we're ever going to play. If you leave anything on stage, then you have done it. If you come off that stage and you feel like you didn't give everything the best that you possibly can, you don't know if that's the last time you're going to step on stage. You're wasting your time. And and we approached every single show like that. And when it comes to this project, I'm not approaching this project as, hey, I just want to do something that's going to be okay. I want to do something that is absolutely going to blow the doors off of people when they watch it, and they're just like, wow. And if they're part of it, if they're part of the cast, or if they're part of, and you know, they supported the project, when they watch it, they say, I'm so proud that I was involved in this, and I know that we did the right thing. I mean, that's the way that I go. My career has been that way. Had I not had that perspective, I would have not played in Madison Square Garden and AT&T Stadium and Golden One Center and all those arenas, because I approached that show the day that the Professional Bull Rider CEO was in the front row as if it were my last, and he came up to me afterwards and handed me his card. And that's we're gonna treat this way too. And I want everybody to know that every single penny that any contributions, every single penny will be put towards this film, and I'm not going to be making none of that is mine. It's, as far as I'm concerned, every penny that goes to this, that money doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the kids we're trying to protect.
Right, and that's amazing. And I personally I'm going to donate as well. And I'm not one to take any dollars for myself when it comes to this. Even if I had to fly to Florida, get my own place, that's all in my pocket. You know what I mean? Like anything that takes away from the production of getting this message out, you know, I don't want to do that, if that makes sense.
Well, I appreciate it.
I got to go out there. If I got to drive out there, whatever the case may be, but this has to happen. I'm a full supporter, and you know, I don't like to make money off of things like that, because that's not the point.
Yeah, and the thing is, everybody that's been involved in this, nobody is asked to be paid to do it. They've all donated their time to be on set. They've just asked that the logistics and all that stuff be taken care of, because I can't expect everybody, especially during this tough time, after a year of Lord knows what having to, you know, as far as employment is concerned, I can't ask, you know, everybody to pay their own way to try and do this, because it can mount up, and it may be dissuade them from wanting to be able to be involved because they can't afford it, whatever it may be. So my hopes are that, I mean, if we need to fund this $20 at a time, you know, it's if you get 100,000 people out there with $20, we got this thing funded. You know, I'm fine with that. But but hopefully we'll get a couple folks out there who have the purchasing power, have the ability to sponsor, and will come on board. We can send them a slide deck. We actually got to get your information now that we've announced that you're on board. I got to get your photo and your short bio to add you to the slide deck. We've got, and I'll send that slide deck to you. Did I actually send it to you already?
I don't think so. I was gonna say, just send it anyway, because I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I'll email it to you, and it's a pretty stout slide deck. We spent some time on it to make sure that all the sponsors out there were seeing who's involved in this and what each level is going to be going to and what it's going to provide for them, and then if there are angel investors out there, or angel contributors as well, that just say, hey, I just want to be involved in this. I'm happy to take any of those kind of contributions as well, because some folks want to contribute, but they don't necessarily want to be on set or anything like that. At a higher level, the higher level sponsorships, that kind of stuff is obviously welcomed and would be gratefully accepted. So.
Right. I'm going to put all that information in the description, so when this podcast goes out and it hits every platform, all the links to the website, to you, to everything. That way, it's just a click away. But verbally, what info do you want to give out so people can reach you and just make sure that they have the right info?
So all my social media platforms, I'll give them to you. If you go to weavercountry.com, they're all on my website, on my homepage, on my website, if you want to go to all my social media platforms. But if you're, you and I connect primarily on Instagram. That's probably my biggest platform. So Ryan Weaver Country for Instagram, and for my artist page on Facebook. Those two. The videos for the video announcement of Ad and Chuck Liddell on there. All that stuff's on my wall. I just recently went private on Instagram because I was getting someone paid for a bunch of fake follows on my page. I did not, and I won't ever do that. But somebody was trying to drive the engagement down because I was commenting on conservative pages and they weren't digging the engagement. I don't know.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Yeah, but so anyway, I got a bunch of, we went private. So follow my page on Instagram. On Facebook, it's pretty much wide open. But the videos are on both of those. You can share them on your social media platforms. You and I talked a little bit about Twitter. I'm still trying to crack that nut. I haven't figured it out.
That's a crazy nut to crack.
Yeah, but my Twitter is
crazy to crack it.
Yeah, my Twitter's a little bit, it's not quite as robust as the rest of those two platforms, but if anybody wants to DM me directly, you're actually going to be talking to me. I don't have somebody running my social media for me. So if you get a message or send a message over to me, I'll be the one responding to you, not somebody else. For the corporate product placement sponsors, we are doing those through Danger Close Media Group. And for the VIP Extra Cast, I like to talk to them first, but if you need the slide deck, I'm happy to send it out to anybody. There's no hidden agenda with this. There's no, I'll be the one thanking you on my Venmo page for your contribution to the film. I don't have somebody else running my Venmo page, my Venmo account either. It's a one person show right now with everybody else that's involved. So we put Burn together, without anybody other than friends and supporters helping. We're going to put this together and get it right. And if anybody at a much bigger level wants to get involved in as far as production and those kind of things, obviously anybody that wants to support, we're willing to take the help.
Perfect. Ryan, I greatly appreciate your time. This is a message that's going to get out one way or another. And, I'm fighting with you. And again, thank you for your service. Thank you for everything you've done. And we're definitely going to, touch base again, and we're going to be on the same stage when it comes to this whole human trafficking thing. So.
Right on, brother. Well, I can't thank you enough for having me on your show, and everybody out there, thanks so much for your support in advance. And hopefully once we get this thing rocking, you guys will be proud of the project that we come out with.
We're going to save lives, brother.
Right on, man.
All right. You have a good one. And thank you, everybody, for listening. Make sure you check Ryan out. And that's it. The show's closed. All right, brother.
All right. Be safe.
Bye.
just heard is LayirdMusic.com. Layird Music, they customize productions, mixing, mastering, anything that's audio related, they can do. This is one of their beats. They will give you 5 free beats for signing up. So if you go over there now and you sign up, you get 5 free beats. And I like this one. There's 4 more that I'm going to use, but I would say go check them out. See what they're about, especially if you're doing podcasts, music, you need beats, you need music, you need sounds. They got it all. So go check out LayirdMusic.com and let me know what you think.
Bless them and there ain't no stress and you don't know there ain't no second guess. Them and Sean Paul, the girls, I'm overall of a standing tall like the great China Wall. Locking it down right here for King Borris. Hey yo, it's Sean Paul letting them know King Borris got the craziest podcasts out there. Check out the KB Experiment. Mad people think you know it go. Blessing them for true. Yeah man, stick to it like glue. Check it out. You don't know the thing set. Hey yo, well I'm on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on. Bless them, King Borris.